Hello, friends. Today, our esteemed speaker, Dr. Nirupama Agarwal, who is an expert in PM and running her CMEs every Thursday, is going to present a case where she'll give her subtle understanding with kingdom classification, her PM understanding of a very, very beautiful remedy. And our two other speakers, Dr. Aditi and Dr. Anita, will also present a case of the same remedy. So there will be a very nice treat of a very special remedy, and Dr. Shobha and myself will later present the rubrics and materia medica. So welcome, Dr. Nirupama. Please start
Thank you.
with your case.
Thank you, Kushala. Visible, na?
Yes.
So, friends, this is somewhere around 45 years old lady, IT professional. She is old patient of mine, and many medications were given for so many complaints before without much relief. And this time she came with lot of anxiety. And see how she was saying, I have lot of anxiety with guilt. See who talks like this, no? She herself is saying, I'm having a lot of anxiety with guilt, along with lot of negative thoughts. What happened? So there was some changes in life. Husband got transferred, and suddenly her anxiety level had gone up. What will happen? There will be new place, new people, new setup. Will I able to settle there? Will my son will settle in the new environment? What if my mother-in-law falls sick? What if my father-in-law gets heart attack or paralysis? I'm going through lot of difficulties, lot of difficulties. Parents are continuously telling me, let's stay together, don't go away. And all this is creating lot of anxiety. So what were the symptoms of anxiety episode? Lot of unknown fear. See, this is also important. How is she talking about the anxiety? Lot of unknown fear. When I lie down, my heart rate goes up. Lot of palpitations. My body shivers. पूरा शरीर ऐसा उछलता रहता है. Super anxiety. The patient's word, super anxiety. And then this tension is felt in my neck, back muscles. My sleep is affected. And almost she was talking for 10-15 minutes and there was no eye contact. As she's my old patient, I always observed that she has no eye contact. Even in her son's case, she never used to look at me. So this was very characteristic symptom. So what is guilt about? Because she said, I have a lot of anxiety with guilt. So patient said, I always wanted to stay separate. I am from nuclear family. I came to joint family and I never liked that and I always wanted to stay separate. My husband was trying hard to get transfer, but it was not happening. Today, when it's happened, after so much struggle, I'm now worried. Worried about my mother-in-law, father-in-law. If something happens to them, people will blame me. What if my son does not settle? What if I fail down? Who will take care of me? See how she's talking about the anxiety, about everyone. It is her own difficulties. Now, in a new environment, I'll not be able to adjust. So she's thinking everything. So there was a short history that she had IBS immediately after marriage and she had taken medicines and she felt better. Why was the IBS? Because of huge stress, lot of anxiety, because it was an intercaste marriage and their cooking style was different. She is basically from non-vegetarian background and she could not understand the vegetarian background. And there was so much anxiety that she said, where to start this cooking? What to learn? How to learn? I have no time. I am working. Full day I go out. Where is the time? And whenever she used to cook, she used to feel whether it's right, whether I have made it right. And there was lot of fear of failure if it is not good. Her mother-in-law was very strict. And there was a lot of comparison between two. Like she had sister-in-law and she was knowing the structure. So she could cook well, she could manage things well. And this patient was not able to adapt in that situation. And she was finding mother-in-law very, very difficult. So she said that there was no acceptance because I am from a different background. And there was a lot of comparison between two of us. So what she did, slowly she reduced communication with them. She kept minimum communication, whatever is possible. She used to take all the responsibilities because she always had that pressure. I have to do this, I have to do that. That type of performance pressure was there. And when there is a fear of failure, it goes up, right? So that is how her anxiety went on increasing and gave rise to IBS, where there is a lot of loose motion and stomach issues. Little history about the childhood. She had a strict parenting. Father was very particular about the studies. He was very particular about marks. So patient was always been anxious about her studies, or there were a lot of stress before exams. Small anxieties were there, like anxiety while traveling. Till she reaches the destination, there were a lot of thoughts, lot of negative thinking, like accidents will happen, something will go wrong, then how I'm going to manage. Hmm? And because of all these issues, slowly she became very introvert. She became very quiet. I was always been a darpoke child, patient herself is saying. So she was only into studies. She used to do a lot of studies, but there was no extracurricular activities. There was no participation in any dramas, dance, any activities. And there was huge amount of stage fright. There always been fear. People are looking at me. They will laugh at me. What if they make fun of me? What if they tease? So there was always been how they feel about me. So and that fear that people will laugh at me was quite high. And because of that, she stopped all the activities. See, in this case, it's very important to understand patient stops the activities. It goes inside. He avoids the situation. How were your college years? Oh, it was very good. It was a huge, big class, and I was not seen. I felt relaxed. See, so important, na, college years when you want to be seen, you feel you need that attention. And patiently say it was such a big class, and I was not seen, and that's why I felt relaxed, and that's why I enjoyed the college years. And then she shared one incident. After that, I could open this case. Before that, I tried so many medicines, but it was not helping. So she said that there was a meeting in closed AC room, and suddenly her stomach started making sound, like there was a lot of gurgling, there was a lot of rumbling, and she said it was so loud. I felt very embarrassed in the situation. And that embarrassment remained for quite a long time. And she used to avoid the closed rooms, AC rooms. And she used to get a lot of anxiety in closed environment. Now, comparatively, it's better. But still, I get very uncomfortable in closed AC rooms. Generals, her appetite was always been less, because of which many times she feels very weak. There is a desire for spicy food, lot of outside food. She enjoys outside food. There is a tendency for constipation. There is a history of painful hard stools. Habit of hair pulling in thinking. See, again, anxiety symptoms. She pulls her hair while thinking. And sleep is very disturbed. She gets up startled. And there is a fear of falling. She is a chilly patient. Dreams are very characteristic in this case. So she has gone somewhere out, uh, and then her husband has gone out, and she's calling her husband, "Where are you?" She gets up with fear. There is a fear of being killed, raped, or harmed. Then there is a dreams of falling from high places, and how she is describing, मैं धड़ाम से नीचे गिर गई. See, this dhadam sound has also a lot of importance in this case. She's saying that there is a loud gurgling and burbling sounds. Now she is saying कि धड़ाम से मैं गिर गई. See why this dhadam is important. Why this sound is important. That you have to think over it. Then she gets dreams of Shok Sabha. And this is the family theme, na? Regular conversation with husbands and relatives. Shok Sabha has a relationship with the death. Other. So this was the case where, because of this incident, suddenly I started looking at all the data, and then I realized there is no eye contact. And the change after that embarrassment situation, she suddenly felt very awkward, and she found it very difficult to go ahead after that incident. It got stuck for pretty long time. And with that, when I looked back, always been that avoidant trait was there. Like if there is any difficulty, she'll not go ahead, but she will withdraw. So, so with these two things, like no eye contact and that incidence of embarrassment, and specifically that gurgling sound. With this, I thought of Ambra Grisea, and then I started thinking from the all points, ki whether everything fits in. So if you see, there is a lot of animal theme. Like she's talking about me, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, comparison, a non-acceptance, a domination. And then when you see the dreams of killed, raped, hmm, so this is all animal kingdom thing. And in that, when you see the typical mammal thing, she's talking about the family. She's a working lady. She is full day busy lady, but she didn't talk about work at all. But she's talking about her family. She's talking about the family issues. And then she's talking about her care, like what will happen to my in-laws? What will happen to my son? And then she's saying, "Hey, what will happen if I fall down?" It means I need someone. So that is the theme where you need people. And then over a period of time, she learned to take responsibility. She's feeling responsible for her in-laws. She's feeling responsible for her family. And the huge guilt which has produced, because she always wanted to separate. And now when that opportunity has come, she's going into guilt. Ki, oh, what will happen if my mother-in-law develops some illness? So with that, I came to mammal issues, and very self-contemptuous. No? She's blaming herself. Everyone is saying, nothing will go wrong. It's okay. But she said, ki, if something goes wrong, मैं फंस जाऊंगी. I'll be blamed. So in this case, if you see the mind, so elements from change, she will go to the new place and something will go wrong. So facing the new challenge is difficult for her. With lot of low confidence, no eye contact, that with the history of embarrassment. And the tremulous, the Ambra Grisea has a lot of nervous effect. So she said, I get up with startles. Then there is a lot of constipation. There was a history of hypothyroidism. So whenever you're thinking of any sea, and whenever you're thinking of hypothyroidism, you think about sea animals also. Sea is abundant in natrium and iodine. So think about that also. It has a lot of hypothyroidism theme. And typically anxiety, if you see, there is a lot of trembling, palpitation, sleeplessness, and the typically she said stiffness of neck and back muscles. So with that also goes in favor of Ambra Grisea. So Ambra Grisea 200 weekly was given initially. because anxiety was quite high. So it settled down really very fast. She said कि now अब एंजाइटी मेरे पर हावी नहीं होती. आई एम एबल टू हैंडल माय एंजाइटी. नाउ her husband has got transfer again, but that anxiety is not that big now. She said, I'm able to divert myself, I'm able to manage my anxiety. So little bit about PM. So see, if you see, whales come here. Ambra Grisea is here, which comes in fourth column. Fourth column is of water and old age issues. Here. So what are the fourth subclass theme? Lot of emotions, na free flowing anxiety. If you see, she said lot of negative thoughts, unnecessary thoughts. I don't know why is the thoughts. So it's a free flowing anxiety. Lot of issues about the love, care, support, family, health. And what is the water theme in here? Emotions, feelings. They're more of the feeling people. And basic quality of the water is to flow, adapt to the new situation, grow, go ahead. But what is happening here? She's stuck. She's not able to move. There is no flow in the emotions. And the focus is on better not to be seen. That is the very characteristic water theme. Let me be inside. Let me hide myself. We characteristically we know diligent being judged. Seen is aquamarina. So that is the water theme here. And what are the old age issues? What she said, what if my mother-in-law gets stroke? What if my father-in-law gets paralysis? So see what happens in fourth subclass, you have really gone down. It's an old age. So water is now not flowing. It had got stagnated. So what happens when it gets stagnated? It gets dirty. So there is lot of dirty and disgust feeling in whichever remedies are there in the old age. And in Ambra Grisea, there is lot of disgust and dirty because this animal also has that stink. The discharge is that offensive. And what happens in old age? If you commit any mistake, there is no time for repair. Now, time has gone. I cannot go back and repair my injury. So they get stuck with that mistake. They are not able to move ahead. And then they rigidly go on holding that negative feeling. And typically you see that dependency of old age in this case, where patient said, if I fall, who will look after? That is typically an old age. So here in this case, if you see the water is not flowing, which got stagnant and dirty. And that's why we see a lot of disgust. So now I invite Aditi to share her case.
Okay, thank you, Nirupama. Very nice description of Ambra Grisea case. My case is also quite similar. I had treated her almost 12, 13 years back. She had come to me. That time her age was 54-year-old and very tall and very tall compared to a usual women figure. And tall and you when you look at her, there is something different in her looks you can make out. That was the first impression of mine. And then the case was started, and she had a severe psoriasis and lot of disfigurement of the whole skin. Lot of fibrosis in the skin, hypo and hyperpigmented patches, yellowish discoloration of the foot, and a very dirty look of overall that skin patches. And also there were few patches on the elbow and all, but the feet were very disfigured and discolored look. And she had also complained of vertigo and hypertension. So this was her case. And then her history really went on long. She was so loquacious, talking continuously talking, and all her talks were a lot of anxieties, lot of worries, worries about herself, her health, and husband's health, daughter's worries. Daughter was not getting married, so her worries, and continuously in her talks she would keep on jumping from here to here, here to here, and most of the time she would come back to these health issues again and again, again and again. Very hypochondriac, I could feel. So this was very characteristic when I was talking to her, when I was taking her history. Then without any reason, she would go for all cancer checkups every year. She was a teacher, English teacher by profession, and she was taking spoken English classes and literature also. And then when she described her husband's illness, it would be for 15 continuous minutes, husband's health, like that. Then she said, as a wife and mother, I look after them diligently. Doctor, that's my duty, no? I need to do that, and I do it to the core. Perfect. Then she kept on describing her nature on her own very few times. I mean, I did ask her questions, but very beautifully, I was getting her history continuously. Like she said, Doctor, I'm very complaining type. I'm very nagging person. Anybody can get fed up with me. So there was self-contempt also, and introspection also was going on. A person talking about herself, I'm very complaining, I'm very nagging, very timid and scared. Doctor, I'm very introvert. I cannot mix with people, and I cannot trust people. It takes me long time to trust anybody. I always find some fault with everybody. I'm very fault finder. I'm very mistrustful. I can't trust easily people. Then she was talking about her childhood and a little bit. As I said, she kept on jumping. So she told me that I had a very bad childhood. My mother had passed away when I was 3-4 years old. I had a stepmother, and she never treated us well at all. And she would call me name calling, and she would call me clumsy, the word she used. I said, why she used to call you clumsy and all? She said, I don't know. My mannerisms and my I used to things fall from my hands, and I used to be very clumsy when we are eating. My glass of water would just spill and all, and she used to get very angry. And father used to stay in some other country, so she would not look after us properly. And my sister was also bully, so she had complained with all the people. Then doctor, I am emotionally very weak. I'm very much dependent on my husband and daughter. I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be using my daughter. No, she should have her own life, but I don't know why I so much depend on her all the time. I shouldn't be like this. I used her. I am using her. These are her words. Uh, then I'm very confused. And I cry also a lot. So, my family people also get fed up with me. Though I am a teacher and everything, I have a very low self-confidence. I have a very low self-image of myself also. Doctor, I'm looking very mannish, no? Do you see women like this, so tall and so flattish? And I mean, I look very mannish. These are all her words. And that's why, I don't like to talk much with the people. Though as such, I like to talk with the people, but because of my look, I am feel very embarrassed. I don't like only when I'm taking walks also. I will try and walk on this extreme side of the walking track so that people won't see me. My students also should not see me, like this. I have lot of fear of dark. I have lot of fear of losing my husband and daughter. I have lot of fear of spirits, occult world. This is what, and lot of other things also she kept on talking. But basically, I gave her Ambra Grisea. And what I caught in her case was this embarrassment, very typical embarrassment, and also her very awkward way of talking, and constant talking, and low self-esteem, low self-image of herself. Also, her, yeah, in the skin, she very disfigured wounds. So that also I had kept in mind. And she also told me that in between I got infection in these psoriatic wounds, maybe secondary infection might have happened. And she said the it was oozing very foul smelling discharge. Moisture was very, very foul smelling. And I also had bleeding gums in the past, and that time also I used to have bad halitosis. So everywhere offensiveness of the discharges were there. And perspiration is also, doctor, yellow and indelible, yellow and inwashable. So yeah, from this I had prescribed her Ambra Grisea, and I gave her 1 dose once a week, Ambra Grisea 200, and she kept on beautifully improving. All her skin lesions went away, and all the discharges dried up and everything. And her hypochondriasis also improved to some extent. Her blood pressure medicine stopped, her vertigo stopped. And a very beautiful case of Ambra Grisea. And I had got this, I mean, I had prescribed on these points, very awkward and embarrassment and all. Yeah, so this is my case of Ambra Grisea, where I had prescribed. And
Surprisingly very dependent also, no? Extremely
yeah,
dependent.
very dependent, very caring for the family, and very dependent on the family.
And fear
Yeah.
of death was also there, no? Which is
Yeah,
old age
yeah.
issues.
And a lot of this anxiety conscience also, like, I used her, like, which mother will say for the daughter, I used her. I mean, I
Mm.
found it very different. So that is how I had prescribed her Ambra Grisea. Yeah. So now, Anita, you can share your cases again with us, so that Ambra Grisea concept will
Get
imbibe
very
better
clear.
with clinical cases.
Yes. So I had one patient. He's a male of 30 years old. He comes from a very wealthy family, business family. And when he was around, he had just finished his education, or he was in final year. That time, like till then, life was normal. He has one brother, one sister who was married. Brother was also married. He is elder to him. And father was busy with his business. And mother was housewife. And mother used to take care of everyone. And mother is the backbone of the family. And unfortunately, uh, like till then, this patient's life was absolutely normal. He was easygoing, happy going, happy go lucky, used to enjoy playing, go out with friends and all. Then suddenly mother was diagnosed with cancer, and that came as a turning point for the whole family. The family, like, which was a happy family, suddenly, it was struck with a lightning. So everybody's life was totally, changed, because they all focused on mother's health. So visits to hospital, taking care of her, everything, everything was replaced with only taking care of that lady. And everybody was very much attached to her, because she was also a very good lady and she used to take care of everyone. So now the life became, there were two daughter-in-laws who were new, and they used to take care of her. She being sick also, she used to guide everyone. Father, who was a businessman, very busy businessman and socially eminent, he started sitting at home. He just stopped going out, and he would spend maximum time with his wife, like patient's mother, and only, discussing with doctors what is to be done and everything. So the whole life was focused on that lady, and it continued for almost 5 years. So in this process, this patient of ours who had come with allergic rhinitis and urticaria, he became quite withdrawn. He became quite, he was attached to mother. So he started missing his mother. He became very lonely. Now the situation was such that everybody was going through that problem, and finally the lady died also. So everybody was going through grief, but nobody would share their feelings because they did not want to hurt each other. So that was the problem. Everybody was struggling within their own hearts. So this patient also became quite withdrawn, and he felt guilty that at that time mother used to say you should study and you should do this. At that time I was more playful, and I didn't pay much heed to her advice or her whatever she used to say. And finally when he came to me, like initially he would be accompanied with his wife and son, and he used to just stand quietly and look down and smile. That's all. So once or twice he had cold, and wife requested for the acute medicine. So I gave him acute medicine, and finally then I told him that I need to take the whole case. And then this patient was brought, and like he was not talking much. He was very shy, bashful, with smile and looking down. So initially I did not pay much attention to it, and I inquired everything and found that he's the youngest child, easygoing to start with. Then he became little more responsible. So I had given him Calcarea silicata, and there was some amount of response also, but then he was not recovering. Frequency of repeat colds was not reducing. So one fine day I just sat with him, and that day his wife had not come. So, and I was wondering, like, he was continuously looking down, not looking at me at all. So I thought shyness is okay, but now he has, come so many times now, at least he should have overcome that shyness. So I directly asked him, "Ki, why you don't have eye to eye contact? Look up, look into my eyes." So he was quite hesitant. And then he started smiling, and then he said, "I'm like that only." And then he said he cannot mingle with others. He just goes to his work and at home, and doesn't socialize much. He doesn't like socializing. So even wife has this complaint that he doesn't come anywhere. Like initially when he got married, that time mother was sick. So they were not going out much. But now, they have come out of that grief. 2 years have passed, but still this patient refused to go out. And theirs was love marriage. And they had common friend circle, and wife had two more sisters almost of her age, like 1 or 2 years difference. So they used to mingle a lot. And couples used to meet. They used to go out and for night drive and all that, socializing. And this person will refuse. He would tell her, "You go alone, I don't want to come." And he was not even comfortable at his in-laws place. So he would just drop her and sit there for 5-10 minutes and just leave the house and come back, because it was in the same town. So like there was no question of waiting for a longer time or staying there or anything. So wife also told me in the next visit that he never socializes. He is not at all comfortable even with friends of our age, and he doesn't prefer going out. Only when I pressurize him he comes, but he is still just quiet and not talking, not interacting with anyone. So this point struck me. And in the business also, he was not able to voice out his opinion to his elder brother, who was the boss there, like who had taken up major responsibility after father retired. So in this case, I had taken bashful, timid, then elements from death of mother and reversal of fortune, because the whole family atmosphere had changed. So reversal of fortune is where, everything was going well, and then suddenly there is a, कुछ तो हालात ऐसे बदलते हैं, some conditions change, and the situation completely changes. Like because of business failure, a rich person may become poor, or after death of this patient's mother, the whole atmosphere of the family, जो एक खुशहाल पूरा उसका माहौल था, it became all sad and depressed, gloomy type of atmosphere. Everybody went into shell. Nobody was talking to each other. So this is a reversal of fortune. And then I had taken other rubrics like aversion to company, solitude desires, and anxiety conversation from, anxiety company when in, awkward, and blushing. So it is there in blushing also. And I had considered that, like, before mother's illness, he was quite easygoing, going out with friends, playing, and to the extent he thought that, he did not listen to his mother when she told him to concentrate on studies and all that. And now he has stopped going out. So it struck me that it is like inhibition. So desire was there from in beginning, desire was there, but now he had gone inside, withdrawn, gone into shell, and he was inhibiting all his desires. Inhibition is blocking your flow, So in this, with this understanding, I had given him Ambra Grisea 1M, and response was like next week he came smiling and he said, what you gave me, my confidence has started coming back. And later on, he was not even concerned with his physical complaints. He would always, his wife would also ask for confidence wala dawai de dena. और कुछ नहीं देंगे तो चलेगा, but confidence wala दवाई दे देना. So he had become, almost normal, started socializing, started more active participation in the business. And to the extent he got separated from his brother and he started his own business. And he was quite confident. And then he used to interact also quite freely with me. So this is the case where I had given Ambra Grisea 1M. And very infrequent doses were needed for that. So I think now Shobha can take up the rubrics and journey of Ambra Grisea through rubrics. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, wonderful cases from all three of you, Nirupama, Aditi, and Anita. Really, all these cases have given us a good idea about the Ambra Grisea. But still, we will try to study it from the repertory and try to find out from the rubric what picture it gives, what is it if anything else that we are able to see other than which we can again find it out into the cases. So now if we see the basic personality of the Ambra Grisea, then the way Anita's case was that patient was there, and the way Anita was describing that patient, basically they are into the reveling. The reveling meaning they want to enjoy. They are the people who want to have lot of parties and musics and want to enjoy life, So the Ambra Grisea is there in reveling. Then they are the people who are full of desires. They are too much into coquettish. And this coquettishness is seen starting from the children also, since they are children. So there is a coquettish too much in children. And they have a lot of excitement in their own selves. They are very much curious and jumping from one subject to another. Also, we see that there is a little bit of childish behavior and yielding disposition seen in the basic personality. There is one rubric that the social meeting ameliorates in young modern girls. So these girls who are very modern, and they like to party and they like this type of social gatherings and connect with the people. That is what is the type of the Ambra Grisea initially. And then also they have that there is a delusion. They feel it is their perception that they feel that everything is too clear. They see the life very clear and feel that which is full of desires, and full of fancies, exaltations, fancy exaltation of day and night. I mean, it is full of fancies, exaltation. Also, there is a fancies which is lascivious and even when dreaming. The lascivious fancies even when dreaming. So this type of personality, when they come across some causative factors, and then the disease starts. So before that, what are the causative factors? So if they come across any ailments from any abuse or the sexual abuse or ailments from death or any anticipation, ailments from grief, ailments from death of loved ones, which is very commonly seen in Ambra Grisea. Now, death of loved ones meaning death of either in children or death of even the parents or a friend. Also, there is one rubric, death of if there are deaths in the family, which is one after another. Then also the patient, that is also one good causative factor, which is not given in the synthesis, but it is there in the complete repertory. Then the very, very important and the core of the remedy Ambra Grisea is ailments from embarrassment. Ailment, they feel very embarrassed even at the small little things, little mistake of them, and they feel embarrassed. Any smallest of the thing which goes here and there, they feel embarrassed. And we saw in Nirupama's case also, from which she could understand and catch the patient. So that is very important. The ailments from reverse of fortune, the ailments from mental shock, and anything unusual. Now, if we have seen in the case of Auramure neonatum, there is a ailments from unusual responsibilities. Whereas, sorry, in Auramure, it is ailments from unusual responsibility. Whereas in this Ambra Grisea, we have ailments from anything unusual happening in their life, which is what is unusual, meaning something which is not going in the usual form. And they feel, oh, how this has happened, which is a bit surprising for them. And then they feel that they perceive it as an unusual. So anything that happens that way, happens unusually, that creates the difficulties for them. And from this time, what happens with this causative factors, they come across anything happens, they are not able to take it up. And then that is how the disease starts in the Ambra Grisea patients. So there are some core rubrics that we have for any and every remedy, and if we can understand these core rubrics, it is easier to reach the simillimum and catch the remedy and crack the remedy and give a good result into the patients. So the core rubrics of Ambra Grisea, which I felt was, one is the ailments from the embarrassment, which is the core. Another is a very awkwardness, because of the embarrassment, from the little thing, they become very conscious. They're highly become self-conscious, and because of that, they would tend to drop things, tend to bang themselves with the say with the tables or with the doors, and they tend to sort of fall. That is what is the type of awkwardness which comes into them. Then another very important thing in Ambra Grisea is presence of strangers aggravates them, and it produces anxiety, it produces fear into them. And presence of strangers, there is one rubric that the child coughs at the sight of strangers. The slightest presence of the stranger also is aggravating them. Then the presence of they cannot pass stool and urine in the presence of the stranger. We have also seen this which is seen in the cases of natramure, it is available. And we see this very commonly, we see when the patients are hospitalized in the hospital setup, or we have seen that the patients are into the illnesses and they are bedridden, and we need to give them the pot and all, but then they are not able to pass stool and urine at that time in the presence of the strangers. So this can be applied over there. Then there is a fear of approaching of the others, and child cannot bear to have anyone come near them. Now, this is also very commonly seen in the children who have the lot of tendency for the constipations. And these are the children, they find it very difficult. They have very stubborn constipations, and they cannot pass stool. They cannot allow their mother to come near, and they cannot have anybody coming nearer to them when they are they are trying to pass stools. Also, we have the rubrics that fear that her condition is being observed, or fear of opinion of others. And with all this, another very important thing is they go into that disgust and dirtiness. So they feel very disgust of their own body, of the odor of their own body, of the secretions of their own body. They feel very discontented with themselves, with their own selves, and discontented with the everything around. Now, also, if we see, then there are some patients' reactions and the presentations that we can get into the clinics when the patient come and tell us. So we will get from the patients, that when they come and present to us during the disease conditions, then the diagnosis can be anything, the disease can be anything. But if the patient come, they can come with the different versions, like, they will come with the feeling of being sick, feeling of being unwell, and being sick. Then they will come with the, like, there is a delusion sick being. Delusion, they feel that they have become insane. They feel being persecuted, that, डॉक्टर मैं एकदम परेशान हो गया हूँ ये डिजीज से. डॉक्टर ये बीमारी तो मेरा पीछा ही नहीं छोड़ रही है. Like that is delusion. He was pursued, as if he is pursued by that illness. Then there is an anxiety when they are in the company, and anxiety in a crowd. Then that is what, which is when they come into the presence of a people, in the company, in the crowd, that is what produces lot of anxiety, because they fear that embarrassment, they fear that awkwardness. So that is why there is also anxiety from the conversation. Anxiety, one very beautiful rubric is anxiety conscience of masturbation after. So this is what is, like, the way we saw that the Ambra Grisea is into that reveling. So they want to enjoy everything, but so they want to enjoy masturbation. But after that, they go into that guilt, and they go into this anxiety conscience after masturbation. Then anxiety driving them from place to place. They will go from one doctor to another, and we can take this rubric, anxiety driving from place to place. Anxiety when speaking, anxiety from the ineffectual desire for stool. Now they have this urge for the stool, but they would find that they are not able to hold the, meaning they are not able to go anywhere. They will start feeling embarrassed. They will start feeling conscious about their own self, what to do, and that would start producing anxiety into them. Conversation aggravates conversation, aversion to, and death desire, to an extent that they would start feeling that अरे इससे तो मर जाना अच्छा है. Then there is a dementia. It is a good remedy for dementia senilis premature. The prematurely there is a dementia, and the prematurely old age which is coming up into these people. Then there is a despair of recovery. There is a dullness of the old people. It is a very good remedy. The way we saw the Ambra Grisea is very good for the children, as well as it is very good for the old people also. In the old age also there is a dullness which comes up, and there is a inability to reflect into the old people. They lose that sense of alertness of their mind, and the mind becomes dull. And what comes in is embitteredness. There is a hatred and the revengefulness, and they become very hurried. And there is because of their hurry, what happens is they go into that awkwardness, because of their going into that hurriedness, they try to drop things and try to bang themselves. They become awkward. And another thing is what happens, they go into that hysteria with hypochondriasis. There is a rubric, indifference to joy of others and to the suffering of others. When they go into the other side of the disease, like, at the end of the disease, these are the states which try to, which comes into them. Like they become indifferent. They cannot see the joy and the happiness of the others. It is seen even in the elderly patients in the family. Like, they cannot see the joy and happiness of the younger generation into their families. Then the mind goes into the prostration. There is a prostration of mind with sleepiness and restlessness, anxious, because the remedy which produces lot of anxiety, nervousness, and that is why they become a lot of restless, to an extent that they start getting suicidal disposition from the despair. So friends, this is what is some summary, some of the rubrics from the Ambra Grisea, which will help us to understand Ambra Grisea as a remedy. Now I will request Dr. Kushala to help us or to throw some more light about onto the Ambra Grisea from the materia medica. Yes,
Yes.
Dr. Kushala.
Yes, thank you, Shobha. So, hello friends, my friends have given beautiful cases and Dr. Shobha has explained the rubrics so beautifully. Now, what I want to say in the materia, like if we have to understand some of the key things about Ambria, where you can connect everything, is first of all, it's prepared from ambergris, some of the intestinal secretions of the male whale. So it is having a tendency, or the patient will show a lot of intestinal, hepatic, biliary affections. So you will see a lot of constipation, gases, and it's useful for bilious nervous temperament. Now, where is the key? Now, it's used in broken down constitutions. Patients who were once strong and vigorous, there was something very strong ailment, like a business worry or a death in the family, like in Anita's case, the death of the mother in the patient, the reverse of fortune, what the family was and what it turned into. In Nirupama's case, there was a change. There was a change of place. There was something which she wanted, but that slightest change, that slight is a very significant word in Ambria, because you have broken down from that causative factor or that ailment, that even that slightest change brings about a nervous breakdown in you. So that is why anything unusual, anything slight, any change, any death, any grief will bring on worn out. They are worn out people. They have broken down. So it is used for people who, though they may be in the 50, they start behaving as if they are in their 80s, or they get symptoms like that as if they are in their 80s, and also in children. So what we see is extreme nervousness and hypersensitivity, which we saw in all the cases. Like they're so hypersensitive that very small things will affect and they'll take it to the heart. Like in Nirupama's case, that it was just a change, and then the way her thought processes went on, what if I fall, what if something happens to my in-laws? I mean, it stays with them. They're so sensitive that their sensitivity is exaggerated. They are very acutely conscious of the slightest thing they do. They exaggerate it, they panic, they faint. Like, you know, how Aditi's case, she said, I have, she's so sensitive of the fact that I have to do my duty. I look after my husband and my daughter very well. I have used, I mean, you're so conscious about every small thing that you do. That shows that level of hypersensitivity. There's a painful shyness, like, the patient can't meet your eye. In Anita's case, you could see that, he's meeting the physician so many times. He is mixing about with friends of his age, and, and they're going for picnics, and he still cannot bear to talk to them, to converse to them. There's that much amount of shyness and embarrassment that you can't even look at the eye. You can't even mix around with people, because there is a deep sense, because of the predominance of the psychotic and leprous miasm in the Ambra. There is a deep sense of disgust in you, that, there's something, a feeling that there's something very shitty about me. There's something very filthy about me, and that I need to cover up. And that is why they cannot really converse with people. They cannot bear to be looked at, and they avoid the social contact. They are very timid and bashful because of their own inner feeling. It's not that somebody from the environment has done anything to you. It's your own strong feeling of disgust within you, which causes that sense of embarrassment. And that is why they cannot pass, there are rubrics which Dr. Shobha also said, where, they cannot pass stool in front of others. It's not that in the literal sense, but it's like you are so much aware of yourself. You're so shy and you're so sensitive about the fact that, you cannot do anything. You can't converse, you can't pass stool, you can't pass urine. The level of embarrassment is so great in them. And this sensitivity is reflected in the music also. They are so sensitive to music noise that music creates a lot of symptoms. It can cause headache, it can cause backache, it can cause cough, it makes them tremble. So this is the level of sensitivity that Ambra Grisea has. It comes from the fact that you are broken down after a strong ailment. And then you see the nervousness. So most of the symptoms, we will see a lot of trembling, a lot of twitching. They're flighty talkers. They're very restless. And this hastiness in speech, like even Dr. Aditi said, the way she used to speak, or, you're just jumping from one subject to other. It comes because of your nervous restlessness, your nervous anxiousness in these broken down subject. So you have to connect that there is somebody who's worn out. There's somebody who's coming into a premature senile state, somebody who's totally in a nervous breakdown situation. And then you see that you're just jumping and jumping out of your anxiety or nervousness. You're flighty, you're talking flightly. We will talk one topic here, next topic. You're not even waiting for the opposite person to answer. You're just full of excitement and, just jumping from topic to topic. So you'll see a lot of jerks, you'll see a lot of twitchings. And this not only affects you at the emotional level, but this feebleness you will see at the intellectual level. So you will see a lot of, a declining intellect where you are in a dreamy state of mind. There is so much of forgetfulness, like the patient is trying to talk something, but he cannot collect his ideas. There's vanishing of his ideas when he's trying to converse. So he cannot concentrate. There's confusion. And this confusion, because of, he's so much aware that, I'm not able to concentrate, I'm not able to gather my ideas. And that creates more embarrassment in him because of his hypersensitivity. His memory is also getting impaired. His comprehension is slow. So you'll see a lot of old age symptoms, which Dr. Nirupama showed in a PM chart, that the whale lies in that old age stage of development, as well as, there is a lot of old age symptoms at the physical level, at the emotional level, as well as at the intellectual level. And also you'll see, like in the emotional level also, you'll see so much of excitability. But along with this excitability, you will also see that alternating indifference where, we see that old people at a certain point of time, they just don't have interest in anything, in any joys of life. They don't feel like doing anything. They don't feel like meeting people. They don't feel like outings. So you will see a lot of these type of depression symptoms. They have a loathing for life. They want to commit suicide. They're extremely sad, melancholic. And also at the emotional level, they're full of fears. This is because of the nervousness in you, that you're so full of fear that you're always dwelling, I can't think clearly. So then I'm just thinking, then all my fears are coming. I'm thinking of all unpleasant, disagreeable things. I can see hideous faces, diabolic faces, all hideous imaginations. They are all imaginary, but they are full of fears because of their breakdown, which keep them awake. And some of the physical characteristics in Ambria is the type of coldness which are there in spots or in single parts. You can see a lot of vertigo. There is no organic pathology, but then it comes as if it's a premature old age vertigo, which is worse in the morning with a lot of confusion and vanishing of ideas. There's a lot of one-sided complaints. You'll feel headache is one side, some skin itching will be one side. And there is feeble circulation because of the premature senility. Even your circulation is going low, even your assimilation is going low, because of which you will see a lot of numbness symptoms. There's a diminished sensibility of the parts, there's itching, and the feeble circulation is also causing oozing of the blood. So you'll see a lot of, at the slightest exertion, she has taken a little longer walk and then she starts getting her menses, or he has little coughed hard, he starts nose bleeding. So it's all like, the little exertion, the little extra walk, the little extra of something that you have done is going to bring on a lot of symptoms. There is constipation in old people. There is dim vision here also. It's like your dim vision not only comes from this premature senility, but also it comes from your nervousness, because there's no pathology, but you're progressing. Your nervousness makes your vision hazy, as well as you feel you're moving towards a senile paralysis. Even your hearing, without any organic pathology, there is a dullness of hearing. These are all symptoms of nervousness and premature senility, which is worse by music. Even the cardiac dyspnea with cardiac symptoms, a little exertion, it's that little, that slight, that little extra, which, brings on symptoms. There is violent spasmodic cough with frequent eructations and hoarseness. Nervous cough from anxiety and thinking. So we have to know that in Ambra, the words slight, change, unusual, grief, all these things are very, very important. Slight exertion, morning, after eating, any small excitement, it need not be something big, but a small excitement, an embarrassment, a little extra mental effort, music, everything aggravates them. So this is my understanding in a nutshell about Ambra. So friends, if y'all want to add anything more, please do.
Very nicely, we have connected all the data, and all the three cases also spoke everything about Ambra and about rubrics and everything.
So thank you, friends. And we will meet every fortnight again and again with our cases. Please do watch our videos and share, subscribe. So see you again shortly. Good night and bye-bye.